All right, here we go. Hi everybody. My name is Chris. I Most of the people that are watching this are probably on the FPL Discord, but I am going to share it with a couple more people, possibly through Facebook. Those folks that don't know what this is, I'm doing a draft analysis for the most recent season of the FPL, the Friends Pokemon League. I just joined this league probably about a month ago. I came on as an analyst for the final match of the season. Good friends with one of the commissioners, Haybuck, and they let me come in and try it out. And then I got to be a replacement player, as one of the players did drop out, and I got to do my own draft and had a good time doing that. So I decided it'd be fun to kind of get into a little bit of YouTube and have some fun with this experience. It seems like a lot of people get more enjoyment out of Draft League Pokemon when they put some effort into it on the analysis and the side of uh, kind of bringing it extra. So, for those that don't know, Draft League Pokemon is a version of the regular Pokemon game of competitive battling. Everyone drafts a team of Pokemon, and you play a regular season. Uh, Varying lengths, and everyone has their own set of Pokemon. No one can have alternating Pokemon. So if I draft, for example, Slowbro, another person cannot have Slowbro. So the Pokemon that you get are yours, and no one else can have them, which is cool. And also, the format that the FPL comes with is you have to have Pokemon from different tiers. So while it would be wonderful to have teams full of Garchomps, Landorus T's, Clefables, and Mega Charizard X's. That's not the case with the FPL. It forces you to kind of have some fun and branch out a little bit from the top tier Pokemon into some of the lower tiers. This is my fourth draft that I've completed for Pokemon Draft League, and I feel really good about it. I feel like every draft that I've done has gotten a little better and better. I'm just starting this thing. I'm relatively new. I believe as of this evening, I've only played 15 Draft League Pokemon games, doing pretty well at it so far, but wanted to get into the team analysis. So, without further ado, let's get started. Um, my first pick for the FPL, it was weird. I was kind of in a strange spot. This is a 20-person league, so the rounds take a long time. I was in the middle, so every time that I picked, it took forever to come back to me. And so it was tough to kind of take a wheel or a start of the draft sort of mentality where you could pick two Pokemon really close together. So I kind of had to make things work with what was available, picking in the middle of the draft. And the best part about picking in the middle is that there's a lot of things still available. And I got to pick up Jirachi. I've never used Jirachi. This is the first Pokemon that I picked with my first overall pick. It's awesome, right? It's got that mythic legendary thing, so it has base 100s across the board. Generally, that means Jirachi can do anything: defense, offense, tech kind of Pokemon. It does anything. Big thing that Jirachi has going for it is that Serene Grace ability, having the ability to flinch things with Iron Head, Heart Stamp, or Zen Headbutt. For those that don't know, Serene Grace does double the chances of extra things that happen on attacks. So, for example, a popular one is Iron Head has a 30% chance to flinch, while when Jirachi uses it, it has a 60% chance. That can come into effect with things like Body Slam, that has a 60% paralysis. I may be wrong in that percentage. And Fire Punch had a 10% chance to burn. Well, now it's 20. Suddenly, the hacks that annoy us throughout the battles, Jirachi can actually utilize to its advantage, which is really cool. And the main thing that I like about Jirachi is its versatility. It's a wish setter, so having the ability to wish up other Pokemon on the team is awesome. It utilizes U-turn really well because it is a common Scarf Pokemon, because it loves getting those flinches with Iron Heads, Heart Stamps, etc. So U-turn is a really good option for Jirachi too in helping get momentum. It can go special or physical and has a move pool that is enviable, and not to mention it has one of the best offensive typings in the game with Psychic and Steel. I've never used Jirachi before in Draft League Pokemon, not that my experience is extensive, but I think it's going to come in to get a lot of use here, and it probably is going to come on every team because it's so versatile, and it can kind of plug the role of whatever I need it to. It can sweep. I forgot about that. It does have Calm Mind, so it can have the potential to set up and sweep as well. The only thing it's lacking is a one-turn healing move, like a Soft Boiled or Roost or something like that. But it does have Wish, so yeah, look for Jirachi to do a lot in this year of the FPL. Secondly, I was thinking of a Pokemon that goes really well with Jirachi, and there's a lot of things here. And the first thing that I thought is Jirachi's biggest weakness is a ground type Pokemon, right? Ground types don't take a ton from Iron Heads. They are decently good switch-ins. Um, and Jirachi struggles with them. So that was kind of the vein of my next pick. And the other thing with Jirachi is base 100 speed is okay, but that's kind of a litmus, right? You generally want to try and have your speed tiers above 100. So that inspired my next pick, and that was Tornadus Therian form. Tornadus Therian form hits like a truck. You can see there with base 110 special attack, base 100 attack. It can go physical or special. Special does rely on hitting air slashes and hurricanes and heat waves, but it is a very powerful Pokemon in that case. And the main reason I got Tornadus Therian is it does have that 121 base speed. That's awesome. There are some Pokemon out there that are faster, but not a ton. The fact that Tornadus can come in and do whatever I think it needs to get momentum is a really, really cool concept. Not to mention that it has the best ability in the game in Regenerator, meaning that every time that Tornadus Therian gets switched out, it gains 33% of its health back, which is really cool. It lets it take Stealth Rock damage for free. It can tank big hits, 80% hits, and switch out and still have enough health to be able to deal with things. And that's really awesome. And another big part about Tornadus Therian is that I made it a Z user in this format. We're allowed to use 2 Pokemon that we draft as our Z captains, and I did choose Tornadus because Tornadus has that Hurricane option, which means it can turn into a Z-Fly Supersonic Sky Strike that does so much damage and hurts a lot, and it hurts a ton of things, as well as it has Focus Blast or Superpower. So Titanium Z is definitely a bring, Inferno Overdrive, and it even does have the Z Tailwind option among some other options there. Also, another big thing here, Tornadus T is a U-turn user, and momentum is huge in Draft League Pokemon, always making sure you are one step ahead of your opponent, and Tornadus can do it well. My next Pokemon, it kind of worked really well off the U-turn thing from Jirachi and Tornadus T. Both of those are kind of momentum mods, right? They switch in, they do something, they switch out. You don't want too much of that. You need some hard hitters, and you need U-turn and Volt Switch are really good for switching in to big threats, and that's what inspired my third pick here. I went ahead and went with Nidoking. Nidoking is much better than the stats down there say that it is. It has that sheer force ability, allowing it to hold a life orb, get that boost, get that sheer force boost off of the life orb, and then especially not take damage from life orb. Nidoking's special attacks are so powerful. Even though he's 85 base special attack, when you put an Ice Beam Earth Power and then you couple it with sheer force and couple it with life orb with no recoil, Nidoking is a massive special attack hitter. And then you do have that 102 physical attack, which means Nidoking does have the option to go physical if it wants to. It does have good, solid physical stab in Earthquake and Poison Jab. It also gets Gunk Shot if it really wants to hit hard. Things like Superpower does have fighting type coverage. And Nidoking has an awesome offensive typing. We've known that for a long time. Ground and Poison is very, very rarely resisted in the metagame of regular UU, and we're going to bring that to Draft League as well. Other things Nidoking gets, it does have Toxic Spikes. Always good to have the option on the team to wear down the opponent, as well as the option to combat toxic spikes yourself. Obviously, poison types uh, absorb the toxic spikes that are on your side of the field. So Nidoking represents that. Other than that, hard hitter. There's not a lot to say for Nidoking. He does have that 85 speed, not great, kind of middle tier there, but the coverage that Nidoking gets is awesome. And coverage is king in Draft League Pokemon, because you'll look at your opponent's team and say, okay, I need Nidoking to hit that, and that. Awesome. And Nidoking works really well at doing that. All right, so my next mon, I'm looking at my team here. I'm really happy with the core that I've made. Jirachi is a great mon, versatile, does what it needs to, has the flinch chance. Nidoking is slow-ish for a sweeper, but does really well there. And Tornadus T has a ton of momentum. I decided to really lean into the fact that Jirachi is a little bit of a slower Pokemon, but if it's faster than everything else it faces, Jirachi can be a huge late game sweeper. And that's why I decided to take with my fourth pick the Araquanid. Now, Araquanid at face value does not look like a ton. No speed and no special attack, middling HP and only okay defense, massive special defense, which is really nice, and allows Araquanid to be able to switch in on things. But the reason that I went Araquanid, one, you want a bulky water type. You want things that can switch into Scalds, because Scald is such a huge move on the opposing side of the field, especially for Jirachi and Tornadus, neither of which like being burnt. Araquanid is really good at doing that. Bulky water is just normally something that is always on your draft league board. I would have liked something maybe a little tankier than Araquanid, but my main reason for taking Araquanid is it is one of the best sticky web setters in draft league Pokemon. Sticky web, when it goes onto the opposing side of the field, they get a -1 in speed, meaning that's a 33% reduction in speed. Then combine that with Jirachi. Jirachi can outspeed almost everything in the game if it takes a sticky web drop. Massive. That means Iron Head can hit, it can hit hard, and then the opponent has to break through that 60% chance of flinching, which I really love. I prioritize the sticky web for sure here. And plus Araquanid does hit decently well too. Liquidation is a strong move. It does have good stabs in lunge, in leech life, decent offensive pressure. It's tough to switch into Araquanid because it has so many things. It does carry that magic coat, which is really great for hitting things like stealth rock setters and sending those things back. It's a really cool concept. So we're glad that we have Araquanid on the team. My next pick kind of goes in the same general format: slow, webs, and hit hard. I've really wanted to draft this thing since as soon as I saw the price on one of my very first draft league boards. Never really got the chance. I needed something that hit hard, and that's it. I decided to pick Mega Heracross. Now, Mega Heracross is slow. 75 speed is not great. However, that 185 attack stat is amazing. Combine that with the fact that it has an awesome ability in Skill Link. And so you get Pin Missiles, you get Rock Blast, you get Bullet Seed if that's what you want to run, and plus it still retains that bug fighting coverage, which means you get massive Mega Horns out of it, you get close combat still. Yeah, this thing really, really hurts, and if Heracross is able to get out onto something, and is not threatened by a flying type attack, fire, anything that's going to kill it outright, it's near impossible to switch into it. Combine that if I am able to successfully get my webs up and get Heracross moving, wow, it can be a gigantic threat. I'm really, really excited to use Heracross, and I think it's going to put in a ton of work. Also, let's not forget, it gets Swords Dance. This thing can reach a monstrous 300 and, oh gosh, math, 370 attack. That's amazing. I'm really excited to use it. Hopefully, getting under the webs from Araquanid. So, Next on the team, I'm realizing everyone in Draft League normally tries to go for their Steel Dragon Fairy Core. As you can see here, I have the Steel and Jirachi. I prioritize that. Um, but I am out of Dragon, I'm out of Fairy, and those are two types that really need to be brought to Draft League Pokemon. So, in that vein, I was shocked that it was still available. I picked for my first free pick Hydreigon. And Hydreigon's one of the premier dragon types in the game. It has that base 1's 25 special attack, meaning that Dark Pulses and Draco Meteors or Dragon Pulses hurt really badly. Decent speed tier. I do like Pokemon being under base 100 but above base 90. I think it's a really underrated speed tier to try and find, because there are a lot of Pokemon out there that are base 90, base 95, uh, that you're able to outspeed with Hydreigon. Not to mention that this base 98 speed is awesome for choice scarfing. Most base 9 or base 100, excuse me, speed users try and EV up to outspeed Hydreigon, and that's kind of the goal. But Hydreigon can hit that choice scarf and use it really well and outspeed those base 100s. Hits hard. It has awesome resistances. Dark type is something I was looking for because it resists that psychic and it can't go down or can't die to psychic attacks, and that's massive. Hydreigon is versatile. It has Roost, it has Tailwind, it has Taunt, it has Defog, it has all the things that you could want in a support Pokemon. In addition to being really strong offensively, it also does have that physical coverage as well. In Crunch and Outrage, Superpower, Earthquake, it has so much. Special attack, you have coverage and Flash Cannon, you have Earth Power, you have poison type moves and like Z Belch. There's so many cool things that Hydreigon can do, and I'm excited to bring it here. Hydreigon is my second Z user because a Z Draco Meteor from Hydreigon is impossible to switch into unless you are a fairy type. It does so much damage. And that Z Black Hole Eclipse, that'll be nice to use, as well as along with those physical moves, Outrage, Superpower. Those Z'd up will be really fun to use. I'm excited to use Hydreigon. Specs, Expert Belt, Wise Glasses, Scarf. There's so many cool items that you can use on Hydreigon. And lefties, tank Hydreigon is a thing. Really cool. So, all right. So I am realizing now in round 6 that I hadn't completed my Steel Dragon Fairy Core. I got my Steel and Jirachi. I have my Dragon in Hydreigon. What better to complete it than a Tier 4 Fairy type that I couldn't believe was still there? Comfey. Man, I was such a big fan of this pick. Um, Comfey's really cool because it doesn't look like a bunch. It's not really a tanky Pokemon. It has 110 special defense, but 51 HP really brings it back. But the fact that Comfey has free triage healing, it's going to be amazing. I'm really excited. I love the fact that you can have the fastest Pokemon out there, and Comfey can come in and use Draining Kiss and do a bunch of damage, heal a bunch back, and outspeed everything. Really cool. Comfey is a major user of tech moves like Defog. It does have the uh, aromatherapy. It's like a heal bell sort of thing. It does have Calm Mind, so it can sweep potentially if used correctly. Giga Drain, anything that can absorb. It has. It does also come with the Trick Room option. We talked a little bit about speed so far. That I do actually have some Trick Room options with Araquanid Pet potentially being a decent Trick Room user. Even Jirachi could min speed Jirachi could be fire in Trick Room, and I could use it really well. Heracross, same sort of thing. So I like having that ability at my disposal. Really big fan of Comfey here. The fact that it can switch in on special defense or special attacking mons, and be able to heal up using Synthesis, do priority damage with Draining Kiss. This guy is going to be a threat. I'm really excited to use Comfey. Okay, so my free tier 2 here, or my free tier 3 here. I really love my team. I'm lacking some really crucial things though. Um, Another very common archetype that drafters will try and build around. Told you about the Steel Dragon Fairy. However, Grass, Fire, Water is extremely powerful. It's one of the OG triple combination, and right now I have Araquanid. I don't have a Fire type. I don't have a Grass type, and so I was looking at Fire. I'm a big fan of taking Fire early in Draft League, so this was a little odd waiting till later. But I found this gem sitting, and so I decided to take Alolan Marowak with one of my free spots. Alolan Marowak is amazing. Again, another Trick Room Mon that kind of goes in the same vein as the Comfey, or also, if I do max speed, it could work really well with sticky webs on the opposing side. Uh, give this thing a Thick Club, and that attack goes up to an amazing 160. It has Swords Dance. Its defense, you can switch it in onto things, and it comes in as a revenge killer often. Flare Blitz hurts so much. Shadow Bone is an awesome stab to use on Marowak. I'm really excited for this thing. You could also use tech stuff. This is my first Will-O-Wisp user that I have on the squad. So burning things is obviously very nice. It does have some defensive stuff as well. I believe it does get iron defense, and man, I'm just really excited to use this awesome abilities. So Lightning Rod allows it to switch in on electric type attacks, or I could go Rockhead, which allows me to not take damage when Marowak does use a recoil move. I believe it's only one actually, is Flare Blitz, but really cool Pokemon that I've been wanting to use for a while. I have a good buddy in Draft League that uses it, and he uses it very well. I'm excited to use it as well. So we talked about that grass, fire, water core. We have the water. We now have the fire, and we're going to finish it off with, again, oops, I can't believe that it was there, Rotom Mow. I think I told someone today when we were talking about potential draft strategies. I said in every single draft in Draft League Pokemon, I have drafted a Rotom appliance, and that held true here. And Rotom is so much fun to use because it has fantastic defensive typing in Electric Grass. It does not have the Stealth Rock weakness that other Rotom forms have, meaning Rotom Frost and Rotom Heat. It does have that Leaf Storm, which hits really hard, and it has the tech moves as well. It has that Will-O-Wisp we talked about with Marowak that could work really well. It does have Defog. It has Pain Split to keep it healthy. Rotom could be a Volt Switcher on the team, which is all obviously built around momentum. Momentum would be really cool here with Rotom. It can hold so many items: lefties, choice specs, choice scarf, uh, um, even expert belts, assault vest with, and then utilize pain split possibly. There are so many options that you can do with Rotom-Mow. Pinchberry, I forgot all about Pinchberry. So I'm excited to use it. I think it's going to be a cool volt switching Pokemon. I could run Scarf to outspeed things. It's never bad to have a scarfing volt switch user on your team. I'm excited to use Rotom, and he does kind of curb off my core of dragon, or excuse me, of grass, fire, and water. Okay, two Pokemon left. At this point, I am down to two tier 5s. I have a tier 5 regular that I haven't drafted yet, and my free pick, I only had 40 points, which is the only thing I can draft with 40 points is a tier 5 Pokemon. So, kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here. But looking at my team, there's not a lot of holes. I feel really happy with what I've gotten so far. There's only one thing that I really wish I hadn't waited on and decided to take here. I don't have a rapid spinner. Nothing to get away hazards on their side, but not my side. I have a couple defoggers and Comfey and Tornadus, Hydreigon, and Rotom, but I really did want a rapid spinner just in case I wanted to do any sort of hazard stacking with Nidoking, T-Spikes, and Rocks. So I decided with this pick to go Avalugg. Avalug's a cool Pokemon. It doesn't take any special attacks at all. It's very frail in that aspect, but it has a monstrous 184 defense. That's incredible. Ice is a really bad defensive typing, though. Don't get me wrong. Avalugg has a lot of reasons that it's in tier 5. It's also slow, slow, slow. But again, we've talked about this. The Trick Room option, the momentum option that gets it in scot-free. My team is made to work around slower Pokemon to hit things hard, and Avalugg can't with 117 attack. Now, the only thing that Avalugg does not have going for it is it doesn't really have a spammable stab physical move. Believe it or not, it does not get Icicle Crash, and the best move that Avalugg can run that's ice type is Avalanche. It's a base 60. It can go up to a base 120 if Avalugg takes a hit. But the main reason I got Avalugg is not for the offensive prowess or the Trick Room potential. It's because it has that rapid spin in case I need it to get rid of hazards. It does have Recover, meaning it's a constant defensive pivot Pokemon. It has Stealth Rock, so I can get rocks up on the opposing side of the field, and it's kind of just a status setter. Toxic is a normal potential on Avalugg. It can run Earthquake. It doesn't have a huge move pool, I'm going to be honest. It does have Curse. Curse is nice to make it a potential sweeper and scare opposing teams. But yeah, it's tier 5, right? There are a lot of better rapid spinners out there, but Avalugg does the trick. I did not have an ice type yet, which is cool to think about. That this does fit a sort of niche for me, and we'll see if we bring it a while. I'm not sure. It all depends on if I believe my opponents are going to hazard stack me and if I want to hazard stack them as well. And normally when you have an Araquanid, a webs-based team, having a hazard spinner like Avalugg is huge to keep on your team. All right, so the last Pokemon on the team, Mr. Irrelevant for the Hannibal Hoot Hoots. Again, we're looking at this team, and I don't have any flaws that I'm seeing. There are some certain things that I haven't really addressed yet. For example, I don't have a normal type, which is a little odd. So I have a little bit of a ghost weakness on my team. I decided that wasn't really a big deal. There were some normal types there, but nothing really that I cared about. The only big thing that I could see is I did want possibly another Stealth Rock setter because a lot of my rockers don't love carrying Stealth Rock. Jirachi, Nidoking, and Marowak, respectively. So I decided that another Stealth Rock setter could be necessary. Also, in Draft League Pokemon, you always want to have that defensive Steel type. I do have Jirachi. Jirachi counts as a defensive Steel type. However, there's going to be games that I want to bring Jirachi that I don't want it to do the defensive Steel type thing. And that sort of inspired this final pick. Is I want a defensive Steel type to do what Steel type is supposed to do: sit there, be fat, take hits, and then dish out rocks, damage, status, what have you. And I decided to pick the OG Steel type, Steelix. Yeah, it has really mediocre stats, but it has 200 base defense. It's another curse user. It's a little bit like Avalugg, actually. Kind of taken in the same vein, does kind of the same thing, but it's a little bit better of a defensive typing in steel and ground. Easily counterable with water type, fire type special moves out there. But I think it's going to do what it needs to do. Set up rocks, be a potential curse sweeper. The opponent has to be thinking about it at least. And spread status. Switch-ins is a great recipient for Wish from Jirachi, and just be an overall fat defensive pivot Pokemon. So yeah, that's the team. That's the Hannibal Hoot Hoots. We have a match this week that I am procrastinating on prepping for. I'm going against Kaya Wolf and the Cult of Chatot. So we'll be bringing that match here soon. I'm going to try and do a live recording. I'm new to this whole thing, and we'll see how it works out. But I'd like to be able to play out my matches and let people see